Well, making face masks is a lot of fun, and this is where you can get your creative juices going. And you can, there's so many different fun fabrics. You can go to your friend's house, your grandma's house, your Aunt Laura's house, wherever, and just get fabric. And I've made one today out of using Minecraft fabric designed for my grandson. He's into Minecraft. I thought maybe he might be interested in wearing a mask like this. So I'm using today, for this type of face mask, I'm using bias tape to cover the top and the bottom. And then if you wear this type of a face mask, you're going to have to tie it. But then you can get it tight as you want, and it won't bother your ears. How I make a face mask, it's real simple, and it goes together real fast. So I need a piece of fabric, 2 pieces of fabric, 6 by 9 inches. I'm going to sew these right sides together. And actually, because this is already on the fold, I don't have to worry about this. So if you have a sewing machine, it goes together fairly quickly. You want to make a seam, a 1/4 inch of a seam. There's no need to backstitch. Snip off the ends of the thread. You're going to turn it right side out. And if you want to, you can iron it or press it, but for things like this, I just like to use a finger press. Use the pressure and use my fingers to iron, to press that seam flat. All right, the next step, I have 2 lengths of bias tape that I've already pre-cut to about 42 inches. And you see, that seems like a lot, but it takes a lot to do that. And what I will do, from the end of the bias tape to about 16 inches, and I have a handy dandy measuring gauge right here. So a little bit more than 16 inches. I'm going to mark that. I'm going to actually start from this end. Okay, that's a little bit more than 16 inches. I'll put a pin in it that marks my place, because what I will do is that I will lay the fabric. Remember, you've got 2 sides. You're going to open up the bias tape. You're going to lay that fabric into the fold of the bias tape. Fold it over. It's a double fold bias tape. Alright, so I've got it pinned in place. You may be more comfortable, if this is your first time sewing, that you might want to pin this in place. Get it nestled up into that fold of the bias tape. Pin it, secure it. There, I've got it done. Now you're going to go to the end of that bias tape, and you're going to start stitching. And if you look real close, there's a folded edge, so there's no raw fabric showing. So I can just start sewing and just stitch away. Okay, when you get close to your mask, you want to make sure everything's good to go. Keep it flat, and always take your pins out before you sew over them with your sewing machine needle. Alright, once I've done that, away I go. Clip off that thread, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm putting this on the 9-inch length of fabric, because you've got to have it cover your mouth as much as you can. All right, here's my pin to mark it. I've got some holes in the pin that shows me where it needs to go. And you know, it doesn't have to be exact or perfect, just close enough. So pin it in place. I go to the end of the bias tape, start in again. And this time you notice I didn't pin anything in place because it's relatively flat and smooth and it's so easy to work with. Trim your thread at both ends. What you want to do to keep it from unraveling, I like to tie it into a knot. Makes it kind of funky looking and fun too, but it works. It keeps it from unraveling. Alright, the next thing you need to do is create some pleats, and that's so that gives some air and space around your nose and your mouth. And there's several different ways and patterns to do that. This is what I have found that works really well for me. I'll just kind of eyeball it, and after you've made a few of these, you just kind of have a feel for it. So right there's my first pleat. I'm going to go across. I'm going to make sure it goes across the same way, about the same distance from the top, pin it in place, and make one more pleat in the middle, right there. Do the same thing on the opposite side. Again, they don't have to be exact because they just don't have to be. They need to be close. There we go. What I'm going to do then, one more or two more things to stitch down. I'm going to lock in my stitch. I'm sewing right on the edge of the fabric, which is catching those pleats. I'm going to back stitch, which makes those pleats just a little bit more secure. The third pleat, come in down to the end, lock stitch it. And I go to the other end, lock stitch, remove my sewing pins, lock it in place. Trim off your threads, and there, I have made a watermelon face mask. And what you can do is you can take it to the iron if you want then, and then press it down and get those pleats kind of permanently in place. But right now, just use my fingers to press it down. And there I go. I'll try it on.